Miyamoto Musashi was a Japanese swordsman, philosopher, Buddhist, and a samurai who lived during the Sengoku period of Japan, a time of constant civil war and social turmoil. He went on to become one of the most astonishing swordsmen the world has ever seen. He became renowned through stories of his unique double-bladed swordsmanship that he developed himself and an undefeated record in over 60 duels. Considering his achievements, he was regarded as Kensai, a sword saint of Japan. In the final days of his life, the mythical Japanese samurai retreated to a cave called the Regando, Spirit Rock Cave. In that cave, he spent the final months of his life meditating and writing his views on the world. While secluded in the cave, he wrote two works, the Gorin no Sho, Book of Five Rings, and the Dokkōdō, which means the path of aloneness or the way of walking alone. The Gorin no Sho he imparted with all his samurai martial arts. The Dokkōdō contains his very own soul. Each of these works are the result of years of his life spent as a samurai and ronin. While the works speak of Japanese culture and sophistication, especially in the warrior class, he also says of strategy, combat, and the arts. In Dokkōdō, Musashi shared 21 precepts that advises the reader to let go of worldly urges, to be strictly disciplined, to be focused, and to live life by the virtues of honesty and simplicity. This is the third of the three-part series and will focus on the last 7 precepts of the Dokkōdō. The part 1 and 2 of the series were released on the previous weeks, so please watch those parts first to have a better and complete understanding of Dokkōdō. Rule number 15. Do not act following customary beliefs. Miyamoto Musashi respected traditions, but he wasn't the type to follow them blindly. He understood the rationale behind the customs of his era, and when he found himself in conflict with one tradition, he'd challenge it with reasoning and respect. He understood the importance of critical thinking and that not all traditions are worthy of our consideration, no matter how deeply rooted into our culture. Some people always listen to others and adapt according to what they hear to, and their life is entirely based on others' opinion. When we live a life that's been externally dictated to us, we become alienated from ourselves and our own potentiality. Musashi was a ronin, a wanderer. According to Bushido, the code of the warrior, set out for samurais, a ronin was supposed to perform seppuku, a form of ritual suicide, upon the loss of his master. One who chose not to honor the code was on his own and was meant to suffer great shame. But Musashi cared little about his status. He followed his path. Musashi didn't follow customary beliefs, so ronin, a term from Bushido, meant nothing to Musashi. He created his own code of life instead of the code of the samurai, and he became the greatest swordsman to have ever lived. He followed his truth, and his truth granted him status as a legend. Doing the same as everyone else gets the same as everyone else, and no one is happy. Is the purpose of your life to fit in like a blank-faced mannequin, dressed in whatever someone dresses them up as? A heart without passion, barely alive, a depressed mind longing for belonging, some purpose known to exist but never pursued. Most people die without trying to live the life they wanted. There is a saying that hell is when you meet the person you could have been. Nothing is worse than meeting the person you could have been in a dark alleyway, forced to make direct eye contact, squeeze by, touching, feeling what you could have been. So burn the beliefs of the public, and from the ashes plant personal truths of fertile soil. Trust what you're doing. Trust in yourself. Rule number 16. Do not collect weapons or practice with weapons beyond what is useful. This precept may seem unrelated as we don't really use weapons in today's day and age. But think of weapons in Musashi's context as tools. Musashi's weapons, his 2 swords, were his tools. Miyamoto Musashi was not a jack of all trades. He was a master of the sword. To master something takes time and great dedication. It is wiser to master one tool than to master 100. First, develop and cultivate skills in your current practice, whatever it is, before moving on out of boredom or impatience. Once you have mastered the art of using the weapons of your trade, you will become a weapon yourself. Kelly Slater is known as the surfing god. He doesn't even need a surfboard. He surfs using a door or even a dining table. The tools don't make the player, the experience does. The master transcends the tools. He's better than everyone regardless of the quality of his tools. The tools become an extension of his hand. The master becomes part of his tool set, merging with the paintbrush, forgetting he exists, living through the art he paints. A basketball player doesn't need shoes to practice, he needs a ball. Sure, shoes help, but they are necessary to the purpose. He doesn't even need a hoop, the player can drill with a ball. How much you need is dependent on your own mindset. As Musashi wrote in the Book of Five Rings, from one thing, know 10,000 things. Rule number 17, do not fear death. Musashi killed over 60 men in one-on-one combat. At the age of 13, he killed a man. How does a child slay a man? The child has no fear of death. It may be ignorance, but ignorance can be bliss. Musashi wasn't taught yet everything he couldn't do. Musashi was ready to die, so he lived. He didn't fear death. He couldn't afford the luxury. His profession was combat. If Musashi feared death like all the men who stood before him, he would have died like them. If you fear death, there's always a reason to panic. Without the fear of death, panic cannot exist. You won't live if you fear death. You can't carry a love of life while holding a fear of death above your head like a dark cloud, waiting to strike lightning at the point of your spine. Don't let this fear turn you into a coward. Rather conquer it and add that to your power. This power isn't inherently good, but it can be used for good. The firefighter and the terrorist both hold no fear of death. One takes life, the other saves them. Power isn't bad, but tyranny is. Preparing for your death isn't bad, but fearing it is. Rule number 18. Do not seek to possess either goods for your old age. If you spend your days planning and saving for your retirement and fall ill tomorrow, how much life will you have missed? What has passed today will never come back. The future is uncertain, and what you have today is reality. When you continuously focus on your future, your present life becomes compromised, and your future life will become compromised by dwelling on the past. To live life is to live in the present moment. Musashi created his list of rules for life 1 week before his death. We don't know if he gave away his possessions or if he had any, but with the wisdom he delivered, why would he keep anything? Musashi gave his life to his path. He didn't care about belongings. Musashi cared about tools and progressing down his path. Musashi left the world with nothing, no baggage to carry to his next destination. He left the world naked and ready, exactly how he entered it. Live now. Tomorrow isn't guaranteed and nothing you own belongs to you. Your life doesn't belong to you either. You can't control when your time is up. Rule number 19. Respect Buddha and the gods without counting on their help. It is always good to acknowledge that there are higher forces than ourselves and realities which are beyond our grasp. But it is important to remember that even gods help those who help themselves. They ignore the whiny, the sick, the poor, and the stupid. The gods encourage the brave. They have no time for fools, whining about their lives and disregarding the gift of life bestowed on the unworthy. When you're paying attention, begging, needing, searching for divine intervention, you'll hear no response. But while you're working, the gods stand behind your desk chair, massaging your shoulders, removing the tension from your back. Your head feels lighter against your shoulders. You enter the divine state known as the flow. The gods keep your mind centered while in their kingdom. You can become a god. The kingdom of heaven exists in the world between chaos and order. Not too easy, not too hard. A perfect combination of challenge and familiar. Keeping you engaged for hours until the sun peeks out from behind the blinds for start of your morning. You haven't slept at all. You were in the flow. You were blessed. The formula is simple. Walk farther down the path and earn bigger rewards for your travel. Your destiny is a list of chores. Mark off all the boxes for rewards beyond your imagination. People can be gods. Great people bring life into the world, birthed from an idea. From a great mind, no different than the gods of the people, written by the people. From nothing to everything. From an idea to an iPhone. Rule number 20. You may abandon your body, but you must preserve your honor. Honor is staying consistent with your values while the world fights to dismantle them. What matters to you? What do you love? What do you hate? Dishonor is abandoning your values. It's hard to go back once you've lost your honor. Mostly we compromise our self-respect for minor things, which happens to most of us, and that too unknowingly. For a samurai, self-respect is everything. Honor is worth dying for. This is saying that we should never compromise our values and principles. This self-respect comes from living authentically, following that which we know to be true. You may spend your entire life toiling, but never see the results in your lifetime. That's fine. The purpose of work is meaning, not results. The joy of creation. Satisfaction after accomplishing previously impossible feats. Every challenge is impossible until you prove yourself wrong. Your legacy will live forever if you build it high enough. The work you do today can influence the world for thousands of years. Rule number 21. Never stray from the way. Each of us walks a path that is uniquely our own. We may not know where we will end up, but we all have an inner compass that guides us. The way is your path, your mission through life. You need to spend your life finding the beginning of your path. Then, the rest of your life walking as far as your feet will carry you. Musashi knew from an early age his path was combat. He killed his first man at the age of 13 in a duel. He dedicated his life to the path, guaranteeing his place among legends. Humans evolve at the same rate as their distractions. More civilizations brings more distraction. Distractions are a virus. Virus spread and multiply. Video game created virtual reality, and Netflix is a product of cable television. Both keep millions plugged into an alternative reality matrix, stealing time. Entertainment is a trap waiting for your discipline to turn around. Video games and television are supernormal stimuli, engineered to keep you watching, playing, episode after episode, quest after quest. You can't stop now. 4 more hours and the show is over. An entertaining show is a vacuum inhaling millions of hours of productive time, spitting back nothing. Happiness found through pleasure is short-lived. The real way is the path to satisfaction. Satisfaction is forever, the everlasting happiness. So dedicate your life to finding your path, what you want to master, the activities you want to do until you die. Once you find your path, the next chapter of your life begins. Mastering the way, never stray from the way. I hope you found the teachings from Dokkōdō helpful. This was the third and final part of the series. Please check out part 1 and 2 on this channel, which were released in the previous weeks. I will be making further videos on teachings, principles and self-improvement. So subscribe not to miss out. Please like and comment your thoughts on this video. Thank you for watching.